We have our speaker for today on the third Sunday of the month, but we've broken with tradition after all these years because we wanted to keep it in time with the special announcements we're having later. So would you welcome Reverend Dr. Sylvia Erickson for the third Sunday. Welcome, Sylvia. You can't? All right, tell you what we'll do. We'll move this over. Okay? Oh, I will help you over, sure.
Thank you very much.
My goodness.
My goodness. Yeah. Hello, everyone. And all the Zoomers, hello. Lovely to see all your faces. So good to be here. Well, I think we should have called this my unity journey, because if I'd said my personal journey, you would have been here with 96 years of stuff to listen to. We'd never get out of here. Well, and I bought some notes because I just couldn't remember over all the years what I had done. Well, when I walked into Unity of Melbourne way back in 1997, I had no idea that God's divine presence would keep me here for at least, I think it's about 24 years, and captivated by the strength and the faith of Reverend Leila Thompson. I was just found myself in this wonderful place. And I learnt the basic principles of Charles Fillmore's metaphysical interpretations with Reverend Leila and Reverend Midge Berkman, two very good teachers. Their classes were outstanding, well attended with many students from interstate. A truly memorable event was their prosperity seminar based on Catherine Ponder's writings. Revs Midge and Leila excelled themselves, and as they presented the laws of prosperity, more than 40 eager students from interstate, I was very, very impressed. But where are those 40 now? Knowing that I was nearing the end of my divine science studies and was soon to be ordained as a divine science minister, Reverend Leila graciously asked me to share the platform and present a talk once per month to give her a day off. And I thought, oh, that'll be good. I should do that for a few months. It'll be a learning curve just for a few months. And here I am 24 years later, still here. I did my first talk on the 31st of the 2nd, 1999. And I've been doing talks on the 4th Sunday of the month to this day. And in 2000, I met Reverend Bill Livingston, who wasn't a reverend then. And I had a community radio thing, and I interviewed him on it. And I asked him to come and play the piano for us. Well, he was very reluctant. He said yes, but it took me 6 months to talk him into it. And I think he thought he was coming to a traditional church, with a lot of very serious people sitting in rows. And when he got here, he got such a surprise to find all these beautiful, loving people and all this loving atmosphere that's here in Unity. And so he stayed. And then he at that time was also studying New Thought. And then he started studying divine science. And then he became our beloved minister. In 2000, I also suggested Unity of Melbourne present interfaith spirituality days to dialogue with other faiths and to interact with other churches. Reverend Leila and the then Board of Management gave their support to the idea, And we held our first Interfaith Spirituality Day in 2001. And we did it for 10 or 11 years after that. It was a great success with speakers from different faiths. And we continued with our Interfaith Days every March and October with 3 speakers each day. And we had Buddhist, Hindu, Tibetan, Sikh, Christian, pagan, Baha'i, Jewish, Muslim, Indonesian, Maori, Aboriginal, and Seisei no Ie, which is the Japanese New Thought, and many other spiritual groups. There's too many to mention here. And strangely enough, we said after some of them, but that's just what we believe too. And so we found there were a lot of similarities with our beliefs and their beliefs. And during this time, we also initiated the Multi-Faith Alliance, Unity of Melbourne, facilitating bi-monthly meetings with the Unification and Swedenborgian churches and other spiritual groups. And we did this until we all got too busy in our various churches and had to give it up for a while. And Reverend Rhonda Murray was here then, and she and myself were also founding members of the City of Whitehorse International Interfaith Network. And we attended the meetings regularly. And when we got too busy, and then Garth, our wonderful Garth, where is he? There he is over there. he took over and kept them informed of what we were doing and liaised with them. Later on, we changed our format and we continued with our interfaith activities in many different ways. Myself and Rev Bill were asked several times to speak at other churches, and we spoke at the Swedenborgian, that's right. My 96-year-old memory's not so good. And we were honoured many times, and we were asked to attend Parliament House events to honour all interfaith speakers and leaders in Victoria. Unity of Melbourne now enjoys friendly relationships with several churches and spiritual groups that could not have been possible without our ongoing interfaith. The Catholic Church just up the road lent us some chairs when we needed some, and other spiritual groups have been very, very friendly with us. And we've also had invitations to the Indonesian embassy where we've really enjoyed ourselves. And although when Reverend Leila left, we just felt that we missed her so much, and there were many tears. But I had wonderful memories because I worked with her in joyful communication, harmony, and I could not imagine the church without her. And we both worked in such unison that it was just unbelievable joy for me. And her generosity benefited this church in many ways. After we refurbished all the church and painted it pink, I happened to say, that old upright piano just doesn't look right anymore. How about we buy a new one? So then I took Reverend Leila to Michael Hendry's Piano Emporium, and there she bought our piano and our organ there, and we benefit very much, and we thank her very much because she's now made her transition. But I quite often feel her energy around me. Well, I feel deeply privileged to be entrusted with leading such a loving and spiritually aware community. And for the next 13 months, I gave it all my energy while the search went on for a unity minister, and it's still going on for unity minister. So Reverend Bill and myself are still here. Here I must pay tribute to Ivan Palaki, because when I was installed as the interim minister, she came down all the way from Druin, a couple of days a week, and she worked with me because I had no idea of computers. I was not computer literate. She taught me how to use the computer, and to this day she comes and helps me if I need it. And Janet Irwin was here, and she also gave lovely classes. She was impeccable with her training and her classes. And she is a walking encyclopedia. If you wanted to know anything about unity, please ask Janet Irwin. In September 2002, I flew to Sydney, and in a meeting chaired by Reverend Mary Elizabeth Jacobs, I attended with the Reverends Rhonda Murray, Elva Holcomb, Jan Grieve, Phyllis Grace, Midge Berkman, Alan Lee, licensed Unity teacher Sylvia Jukes, and myself. We formed the Association of Unity Leaders in Australia, which is now entitled the Australasian Association of Unity Leaders, including New Zealand, and dedicated to the growth and expansion of unity in Australia and to foster the expression of the indwelling Christ in every person and to support the then unity structure. It was a great step forward. We've come a long way since then, and the Unity National School was formed later. And in the past few years, the AAUL has become part of the Unity Pacific Region Alliance. In March 2003, in July 2003, we welcomed Reverend Rhonda as our new Unity Minister. And I went back to my monthly Sunday services, which are continuing to this day. As a result of our interfaith activities in 2003, I was sponsored to attend a peace conference in South Korea by the Family Federation for World Peace. As one of 250 delegates and as a representative for Unity of Melbourne, I facilitated a discussion in one of the groups on obstacles to world peace. And it was just an amazing experience with all these different people, monks, ministers, everyone from all around the world, from all sorts of different religions. And it was lovely. And while there, I signed a resolution to be tabled at the United Nations asking that an interreligious council be added to the United Nations so that each nation's fate is not just left to its politicians. This was what we wanted. We wanted a spiritual tier to be added along with all the politicians. The delegates were all ministers of religion, professors of various disciplines, former heads of state, monks, ambassadors, and former prime ministers. I found, though, that many of these had written books, knew a lot about religion, but none had heard of Unity or the New Thought movement. I was absolutely amazed. Therefore, as each presented me with their personal card, I responded with a copy of the Daily Word. This precipitated many discussions re unity and the truth principles, and I knew that I was there in the right place at the right time, and it was all divine order. Once again, God had placed me in the right place. Another most uplifting event was the Parliament of the World's Religions, hosted in Melbourne and held in the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre in 2009. The Parliament included delegates attending from around the world. The first day's program was the New Thought Day, on which Australian leaders in Unity and New Thought gave speeches of welcome to the overseas delegates. Those leaders included were myself, Reverend Bill Livingston, Dr. Laurie Levine, Reverend Grace Berry, Reverend Rhonda Murray, and Dr. Barry Pierce. It was exciting to meet all these people that we'd seen just in magazines and had never met them, and there they all were in front of us, all wonderful people. We heard from Doctors Michael Beckwith, Ken Gordon, James Trapp, Barbara King, Mary Pumpkin, and many others who played a vital part in lifting unity and new thought truth principles high in our spiritual consciousness. Our then Board of Management, along with President Sheila Lamont Stacey and Reverend Bill Livingston, did a mammoth job. I don't know how they did it in organising services, food and entertainment for all these overseas delegates, which were brought to our church by 2 mightily packed bus loads. And they came in on Friday, December the 4th, 2009. Reverend Bill presented the service. Our church was packed to overflowing, and the spiritual atmosphere was just absolutely electric. I also contributed with a short talk on our interfaith activities, while photos of our interfaith speakers were shown on the overhead screen. A delicious meal was served after the service, and Dr. James Trapp, leader of the Association of Unity Churches International, stood up and pronounced it, "Oh, a most wonderful night. I'm so glad we all came along." I conclude these memoirs with much joy, knowing that there is so much more to come in Unity of Melbourne. And as we expand and uplift the spiritual consciousness of many more truth seekers, they will find their way. And I give thanks to our present Minister, Reverend Bill Livingston, and our Board of Management, who also continue to ensure that Unity of Melbourne is a beacon of light in Australia. I give thanks also for our wonderful singers, musicians, speakers, greeters, volunteers, and all who helped to make our Sunday services, or they did until COVID hit, such a memorable and uplifting experience. I give thanks for the divine presence. And it is so evident in this beautiful sanctuary. We are truly blessed. And many people coming from other faiths and other organisations said, how wonderful it is here. We can feel the presence here. I give thanks. And I give thanks that I am still a member of this great age of a caring, loving community where all of us are helping and loving each other as we endeavour to live the Christ way of life. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Well, it's your birthday week. Can you
Yes.
see us all there? We've got some beautiful people there. Look at them.
Yes,
There's
look at them.
Wendy. My goodness. I'll show you everyone soon, and Daya. Now, Sylvia, on behalf of Unity of Melbourne, please accept a bunch of flowers.
Oh, aren't they beautiful?
Yeah, they're quite heavy, but you know, when we look back at the journey, we've had some pretty horrendous moments.
Beautiful.
Yes, thank you. Well, I'll put them over here for you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, thank you.
But when you think back of some of the memories, I think the strangest one was when we had to go to the Parliament of World Religions.
Yes.
We got up at 6 o'clock, for goodness sakes, and we went in by tram to Jeff's
We didn't
shed.
get up together. Oh, please
Oh,
make that very clear.
Mind you, we're all 10 years younger then too. And I remember you going in there. We had to meet in this upper room with all the American ministers, Reverend Michael Beckwith
Yes.
and Mary Tumpkin, who's passed away. and also Dr. Barbara King, who's also passed away, two giants. And we had a minister that was here for a couple of months, Reverend Jack Bomar. Remember that?
Yes, I remember him. Lovely
And
man.
yes, so I remember from that we got to know a few other people. And when we did our first interfaith at Parliament House,
Yes,
remember?
yes.
You were very brave because we had all the different religions there and you had to stand up for your truth. And I thought, my goodness, are we going to get out of this alive? And it was great, wasn't it? It was a good,
it was
thing.
all wonderful.
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
now, can you stand up there for a minute? Well, we've got going to sing something. We're going to sing a song. All right. So just stand there.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'd like to be upstanding because it's a special day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you.
And happy birthday. Hang on. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sylvia. Happy birthday
to
hip hip. Hip hip. There you